You're watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum in Natchitoches. You can follow Sports Shorts Daily by going to our YouTube page, Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rance, and get our 15-minute weekday video.
All right, everybody, welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rance being broadcasted here from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studios with Sports Shorts Daily, of course, presented by LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge and Hotel. Tommy Chrysant joined us from over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Is that flame? Do I have it right?
You got it, Ronnie.
Good.
That's pretty good for Monday morning.
That's not bad at all. Halloween week here on Sports Shorts. Don't forget 13th Gate over there as well, downtown, presented by Jerry Lane. Fantastic place to go for for haunted houses and things like that. It was packed the other day after the LSU game. I'm driving downtown going to Guaranty Broadcasting after the LSU game, and it was just, packed with people. It was a beautiful night going to
13thgate.com. They're open on like November 13th, so check it out.
All right, TK, let's get into it. Let's talk a little sports from the weekend. Obviously, the big story here locally in Baton Rouge and South Louisiana is the play of LSU. Who saw this one coming? They hang 52 against South Carolina. And look, they were only, depending on where you were getting the action, anywhere from like a 2-point favorite at kickoff to a 5-point favorite at kickoff. It was a field goal, less than a touchdown game, and yet LSU dominates and wins by 28. The biggest part of that story is TJ Finley, an absolute true freshman. And believe me, a true freshman is a big difference between a redshirt freshman, which is what Johnny Manziel was, and when he won the Heisman. True freshman is very difficult. A year ago, he's playing against Denham Springs High or something like that. Instead, he's playing against the Southeastern Conference defense. But your reaction to Ponchatoula's own TJ Finley going 17-21?
Ronnie, I was very impressed. It was an unknown. You always got knowns and unknowns with a football program. I was very impressed with TJ Finley, all aspects that I saw. He threw that one pick, but that's all right. You're going to, Bill Parcells used to say, if you're not throwing interceptions, you're not trying. I was very impressed with the way he stood in the pocket, the way he led his team, the way the team seemed to rally around him. His interview after the game was impressive. Certainly, he came in with all the accolades, and he lived up to it in a huge pressure situation. As you said, Ronnie, he's playing Denham Springs and Covington last year. Now he's playing South Carolina, who had just knocked off Auburn, and Auburn should be 1-4. That's a whole other story. But he did a great job. I think you got to give him credit. You give Steve Ensminger credit for calling a game that Finley could handle. And, Terrence Marshall's incredible, but Finley really let Tiger fans know that he's the real deal.
You talked about the thing that surprised me too. After the game, Tommy, I was there by the tunnel, and TJ Finley was very emotional. He was literally had tears in his eyes, hugging his family. This is a guy who grew up an LSU fan. He knows what it means to be the quarterback of the LSU Tigers, and it was clear that he knew it meant a lot of what he did. So it was pretty impressive. The LSU wins. The offense is fantastic. They put up nearly 500 yards of offense. Obviously, you saw the riches of talent that they have, not only in the kick game when Palmer returned the kickoff, which hadn't been done since 81. And by the way, I was at that game in 81 with
ran it back, huh?
Eric Martin.
Well, you know what, too? For 25 years, Richard Condon, since 81, he said, can we ever get another kickoff? I texted Condon the other night as soon as Palmer ran it back, and he made a really nice comment. I'll keep that between him and I. But, because he and I, for a couple of years did the post-game thing together on the old J-Bo and Pelican TV back in the day. So I texted Condon when Palmer crossed the goal line. It was something him and I have talked about for a long time. But, the defense, Ronnie, was, we talk about this, things about a team, things you don't know. What I don't know is how long does it take to adjust to a new defensive coordinator and a new system. The first couple of drives from Carolina went through them. They looked like Swiss cheese. You're thinking, man, what's going on here? Then they tightened it up a little bit, obviously got better defensively. So if you're an LSU fan, you got to hope that improvement continues.
It got better, Tommy. It got slightly better. The defense, is still got some issues. I mean, thank God for players like Terrace Marshall on offense, who's already got 9 touchdowns for 4 games, and people like, the talent that they have on offense, so many different weapons. I mean, you see in every throw is a different target. But the defense just gave up chunk yardage in the run game and the pass game against the South Carolina offense. By the way, South Carolina missed 3 field goals. They scored 24 points. They could have easily scored 30-something. This game was closer than it was on the scoreboard from a standpoint of what South Carolina did offensively. This defense still has a ways to go. But, yes, it did improve a little bit from a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Well, Ronnie, about 15 years ago, the NFL switched to an offensive game instead of a defensive game.
Yeah.
We've seen that coming in college football now, and these coaches are realizing, hey, it used to be, I remember, legendary high school coach Jack Salter said, I'm going to put my best athlete at tailback. The next best 11 athletes I have are playing defense. Now, that's 40 years ago. It worked then. And now all your talent's on the offense. And you and I both worked for arena football for many years. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but it's almost like, hey, if you get a stop, you're going to get 2 scores up, like the days when we did arena football. Okay? Because it's an offensive-driven game. The rules are bent to the offense, just like in the NFL. And I think college football fans, the days of that 14-10 game or that field goal to win 17-14, I think them days are few and far between going forward. It's an offensive game. And kind of like baseball, I prefer a 1-0 game, a 2-1 game. I love that. Most fans want to see 9-7, In football, the fans want to see 45-41, 52-24. And that's what they want to see, and that's what they're getting.
It's no doubt about it. If you hold a team to a field goal, that's almost like a punt. And,
That's a win. Coach is doing this. He's like, hey, great job. We held them to 3, not 7.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally where we're at. Okay, now LSU's got Auburn coming up. There hasn't come out officially from LSU that Miles Brennan's not going to be able to play in the Auburn game. We're hearing whispers coming out of the camp that this injury is going to be there a while, that it's a serious injury that's going to last maybe the rest of the season or for a number of weeks. So I would expect that TJ Finley would get to start on the road at Auburn. The way they managed TJ Finley, of course, they ran the ball 40 times and they gave him throws early on to get him some confidence. But, I mean, he was not a 17 of 21 passer in high school. He was a guy that threw the ball downfield. He was a guy that 52% passer, percentage over the course of a year. I think his junior year, something like that. So for him to be at 80% throwing the football shows you the maturation that he's made since high school. On the road at Auburn, and you mentioned it, an Auburn team that's, got a winning record but should be 1-4. This is a very winnable game even with TJ Finley, the way they played offensively.
I agree with you. I'm sure Coach O will address the Brennan Finley situation in his lunchtime presser today, which I will be listening to. But you got to feel good about Finley. Now, when he was at Ponchatoula, with all due respect to the Green Wave, they didn't have Terrence Marshall and Eric Gilbert and John Emery running the ball. That all helps Finley. But, again, I was very impressed with him. I think if you're a Tiger fan, you got to be happy, and you got to like their chances. They're a 2.5 point favorite at Auburn in the early line this week. And Auburn is not as good as their record. They'll be the first to tell you that. Their quarterback, Bo Nix, is very inconsistent, but LSU's defense has been so inconsistent. It could be another one of them shootouts, but I like my early call in the week. I like LSU's chances on the Plains. This is coming Saturday afternoon, 2:30 kick.
LSU got 5 sacks. Good news for LSU is that the starting right guard for Auburn will be out, not playing. He's out for the season with an injury. Remember the last time LSU had a true freshman start at quarterback at Auburn? It didn't go so well. That was Brandon Harris back in 2014. That was the last time before 2 weeks ago that LSU played a game and went 0 for 14 or whatever on third down. They didn't pick up a third down in that game. And I remember being there working the sidelines for CST, and that was one of the ugliest games I've ever seen. LSU was destroyed. Brandon Harris was just couldn't even get the signals right. Somehow, it's not going to be that way with TJ Finley. You got a totally different feel. Remember that game the week before? Brandon Harris had come in garbage time, threw a bunch of touchdowns late. And, hey, we got all excited. But in this game, TJ Finley from start to finish looked like a veteran quarterback who had complete control of this offense. When asked to do what he was asked, I think it's going to be a completely different experience for LSU fans with a true freshman at Auburn.
Well, like you said, he didn't look like a true freshman last Saturday. Now, he's got to follow that up. What did you do for me lately? I think, the team gained confidence in him. The coaching staff gained confidence in him. Finley probably gained confidence in himself. Auburn's going to try to rattle him. But, hey, based on what I saw, I think if you're a Tiger fan, you got to be excited about it. And I don't think there's any question they got a great chance to go on the road and beat Auburn, a game that has so many stories. LSU Auburn, that's like going back to the earthquake game, that's like a major thing in the Southeastern Conference and for the fans of each of those schools. And I like LSU shots. That shot this weekend, that's my early call.
Yeah, speaking of the earthquake game, we had Eddie Fuller on Sunday and Monday at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame event. Always great to see Eddie. And, heck, that famous Hodson to Fuller pass in the back of the end zone that will never go away. Tommy, something happened on Saturday that's very rare, and that is Zach Von Rosenberg, the punter for LSU, didn't even get on the field. But to back that up, Thomas Morstead didn't get a punt in for the New Orleans Saints as well. So in the same weekend, you had two teams, LSU and the Saints, not have to use their punter. That's pretty unbelievable.
That's amazing. And you know what I don't understand? And I read this, Van Rosenberg holds for the extra points in the field goal. And they say that doesn't count as an appearance. Why not?
I don't know. Yeah, that's weird.
What if he bobbles a snap, rolls right, and throws it, or incomplete or complete? Then it becomes a statistic. I just don't understand why that's considered. According to the NCAA stats, Von Rosenberg did not play in Saturday game. And I think that's got to be changed. But if you hold for the extra point, you're putting a point on the board, or something goofy's happening.
One of 11 players on the field. It should be.
That makes the NCAA. They got enough problems, other problems to worry about. But going back to your question, to have neither team punt the football, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. If you tell somebody that before the weekend, first off, you think the Saints win by more than 3. And second off, as you accurately pointed out, that LSU South Carolina game was a blowout, but it wasn't a blowout. But you don't punt the football, and that might go back to what we're talking about. You couldn't even punt the football in arena football, could you? They didn't have punters.
No, you had to kick a field goal and go for it.
No matter what, well, that's where college football's going, man. If I'm a punter, I might want to make sure I can place kick as well.
Before we finish things up with a little quick Saints talk and World Series, tell us a little bit about Tremonti's, where you're at today.
Well, Tremonti's can handle your catering. If you got a party to watch the LSU Auburn game, small group, big group, they can handle it. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook. And, of course, Buffalo Trace, $19.99 a bottle. It's been flying off the shelf. Mike has ordered more. Buffalo Trace, stock up for the holidays. Thanksgiving's not that far away. And speaking of that, starting next week when we get into November, we'll talk about all the turkeys and the specials at Thanksgiving. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, daily lunch specials. They've still got the bust breast cancer thing going on. That's why I still got the pink shirt. But check them out. Facebook, Instagram, all the specials and details are there. They got a big catering order they're working on right now as I speak. Several hundred lunches going out today. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Check them out. Big party, small party. At $19.99 for the Buffalo Trace whiskey. You can't beat it.
New Orleans Saints, man, just when you think you're counting Drew Brees out, he tells you how great he is. 41 years old, and no Emmanuel Sanders, no Michael Thomas, a bunch of schmoes playing wide receiver, and they go and win a big game against Carolina Panthers, who played well. Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater played well. It was a 27-24 game. Saints hang on to win. Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara, that's the storyline that we were used to over the last few years. Kamara was amazing, but Drew Brees in front of 3,000 fans. Tommy, thanks to the mayor, appreciate her.
Well, hey, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer on the football field. There's no question about that, and he showed yet another reason why he will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a player. So, one thing you got to do in pro football, you got to play with whoever runs out on the field. I give credit to Callaway and these other people that stepped it up a notch. They got an opportunity. Ronnie, we've been in sports all our life, and There's more guys on the bench than there's on the field. That's almost the case in every sport. You got to be ready when your name's called physically and mentally. These guys were ready. Breeze, Kamara, they did their normal thing, and it was truly just another validation. Not that it was needed, but that Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. And as far as the 3,000 fans in the Dome, a friend of mine went. I mean, he sent me a picture, said, "Hey, I'm in that number." I actually know a couple of people that went. And, I mean, stop the foolishness, okay? Build stadiums. I mean, if the masks truly work, let's all wear a mask and build a stadium. I mean, but masks don't truly work. We all know that. So, anyway, I just don't think – I mean, the mayor continues to just crush the people in New Orleans and the New Orleans economy. And their surrounding areas, too, are affected. But I would hope that somehow that gets worked out very, very soon.
Brutal deal. She's patting herself on the back like she did something. Only allowed 3,000 fans in a stadium that holds 72,000. You could put one person in every row and do more than 3,000 fans. That's ridiculous. Well, let's talk a little Major League Baseball World Series. Before the World Series began, you took the Rays in 7. I took the Dodgers. I thought this was going to be Clayton Kershaw's redemption, and it has. He's 4-1 in the playoffs. He's won 2 games in the World Series. Are we done talking about Clayton Kershaw being a bad postseason pitcher?
I think you have to be, and I mean he's not going to throw. If there is a game 6, and if there is a 7, he's not throwing in either one of them. 2 W's, outstanding performance both times. An incredible play when Margot tried to steal home last night for him to step off. He didn't make the best throw, but they got him out at the plate. Good job by Barnes with the tag. But Kershaw, you accurately said it before the World Series. He came out. He put an end to the bad talk or the postseason, funk he had been in. It's been a very exciting World Series, other than Joe Buck, who I think is pulling for the Dodgers. That's ridiculous that you got an announcer that's so slanted to one team. And that's my opinion. Maybe other people feel differently. But it's been a great World Series. You get that feeling where every pitch kind of matters. This is not a baseball game in August. This is, anybody can hit it out the park these days. Any error can get magnified. I've enjoyed the World Series a lot. Tonight, Monday is a night off. I will be watching Game 6 on Tuesday, and it'll be unbelievable out there. It's going to be fun. And if they get to a Game 7, it'll be Charlie Morton versus Walker Buehler. What a game he threw the other night. Gee, that guy's incredible. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Buehler, the ball just jumps out of his hands for the Dodgers like it's easy, just easy electric 95 to 100. I mean, it's unbelievable. These guys are throwing 100 miles an hour like it's just nothing, Tom.
Hey, I threw an easy 86 back in the day.
Whew, man. No, the World Series have been super enjoyable. Do you think they're pumping in fan noise, or do you think that's the crowd? Because, I mean, it sounds pretty good. And, you got
11,000 plus, and that new park in Arlington only holds like 44 or 45,000. And the roof's covered, and it is a World Series. There's a lot of Dodger fans there. I'm thinking that noise is probably more genuine than not.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been a very good World Series, and it's for the Rays. Hopefully now this will jumpstart their efforts to get a new stadium and get some fans, because that franchise is just the worst stadium in America over there in Tampa, and they just, nobody over there cares. There's been many times where the actual attendance for an LSU baseball game has been bigger than the actual attendance for a Tampa Rays game, or a Marlins game for that matter. I mean, the actual, not the one that tickets sold and all that. I'm talking about like on a big SEC weekend when LSU's playing Ole Miss or something. The actual attendance on a Friday or Saturday night is a lot of times way bigger than the actual at any of those two ballparks. He's Tommy Krysan. I'm Ronnie Rance. Tell us a little, TK, about your podcast.
Hey, Talking Sports with TK. It's available on all your major platforms. Going to have an LSU football update every Wednesday. That's also sponsored by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Search for it on all the platforms, or connect with me on social media. Tommy Krysan, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll make sure you always get a link.
Also, I want to remind you the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction is going to be December 15th through 17th. Go to lasportshall.com. What a great thing to do to come to Natchitoches during the Christmas lights, where it looks like literally the North Pole, and you can get to participate in the Hall of Fame festivities. A lot of great events. Go to lasportshall.com and check it out. All right, for Tommy Christ, Santa Tremonti's. I'm Ronnie Rance, presented by LaBear's Casino. Thanks to LaBear's. Don't forget, go to Buffalo Trace over there at Tremonti's. We'll be back with TK on Thursday. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LaBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum in Natchitoches. Don't forget to follow Sports Shorts on Facebook, Twitter at sports_shorts, and check us out on Saturday mornings from 10 to noon at Sports Shorts Radio on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge.